Hi guys, how y'all doing? Killer Shrew fan here, and today we will be taking a look at our second to last Vitae model that came to us just recently. This is of course the Sinraptor. Now I know what you're thinking, do not be alarmed. This one stands no problem on the shelf, he just does not like my review space, so just for simplicity's sake I did put him back on the wooden base just for this review, but I promise this one has no balancing issues whatsoever. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into the review, starting off at the head of the Sinraptor. And as you can see, Vitae kind of did something a little bizarre with this model, and we'll get into it down the line here, but really the only areas of notable scaling is on the lower jaw there, and in there you can see all of the individually sculpted teeth, and as with the Vitae Majungasaurus and Giganotosaurus, this one does come with an articulated jaw, which opens up kind of difficult, but it does open up about that wide. You can't go much wider because then the cheeks kind of start to fall out and it just doesn't look that good. So yes, there you can see it with the open jaw. The eye is done in a black coloration with a painted on white pupil. Again, not the biggest fan of that. Does not give this thing a great sense of life or, natural beauty or anything. It doesn't look like someone's home when I look at this thing, which I always like to see on my dinosaur models. Another thing that I want to address real quick while we're on the subject of the jaw is it kind of has a lopsided jaw if you're not careful. When you close it, it just looks a little wonky. It kind of gets off track and gives you this sort of lolled to the side look. So when you close it up, just make sure you're closing it straight up and not letting it run on you. So yeah, just something I noticed. Not a huge deal, but definitely something to be aware of about this model. But again, from the front, you can also see we have got binocular vision once again. So it does feel like this thing is looking at you if you display it from a head-on point of view. Rotating it around to the other side, you can see it's really the same story with the sculptural details. It's just kind of the wrinkles, folds of skin. You've got the brows, the start of the spines at the back of the skull that run down the length of the body. This head is just kind of ugly, and that's kind of a theme with this entire model. Like if we move down the length of the body, it's kind of mush. Like, I feel like they were going for wrinkles and folds of skin, and in some areas, I get it, I see what they were going for, but ultimately, it just looks like they melted this thing or something. Like, they had the base sculpt, and then they just put a heat gun to it, and now it was in a burn, it's a burn victim or something. It just looks ugly. The texturing is ugly, and then they did a black wash to make it all uglier. It just stands out like a sore thumb. This is not a pretty model by any stretch of the imagination. Moving along the underbelly, you can see even down here, it's just lines carved into the sculpture, folds of skin, Vitae logo, copyright 2017, and yeah, just, ugh. This thing makes me itchy. Like, looking at this model, it makes me itchy. It makes my skin crawl and get goosebumps, and ooh, it's just not good, man. Taking a look at the hands, facing inwards as they should be. Nice, sleek little claws. They are a bit pointy, I am noticing. Painted in a black coloration. Not nearly as gnarly looking as the Chilantisaurus, but yeah, not bad. I mean, the musculature in the arms is quite nice, saddled by the hideous wrinkle, disease, tumory skin. It's just, I cannot stop talking about that skin. I am so sorry. Taking a look at the feet here, as you can see, they are that nice, delicate, bird-like feet with the nice, thin ankle and then a powerful looking calf as that is flexing as it pulls the creature forward. I do love how incredibly gracile they managed to make their theropod dinosaurs' legs and feet whilst maintaining the power behind them. Vitae seems to have this down to a science. It always looks so good. You've got some plate scaling on the back of the toes there, as you can see. One of the few areas of scaling on this thing, and the toe claws are, of course, painted a dark brown with a shellac coating and some muck to make them feel weathered and lived in. For size, as on this Sinraptor, sorry I can't talk right now, it is one of the bigger Vitae models, coming in at about 9¼ inches long, or roughly 23½ centimeters from tip of tail to tip of snout, and measures about 3¼ inch off the ground from the base, which is about 8½ centimeters. So yes, one of the larger offerings from Vitae. For size comparison, here it is next to the recently reviewed Chelantysaurus, and as you can see, it dwarfs that figure, both in terms of its height and in terms of the length. But honestly, that Chelantysaurus is just a much more visually appealing model. It's so much nicer to look at. I mean, I like the paint scheme on this Sinraptor. It's a step above what's been done in the past with like the Werosaurus and the Zhangjiangosaurus, but it's just saddling that ugly texture. Ugh. Brr. Next up for size comparison, here it is next to the Vitae Giganotosaurus, and as you can see, the massive Giganotosaurus still dwarfs the Sinraptor, and again, it just looks so much nicer. The paint scheme is so much nicer. I mean, it's what, like 3 times the price of the Sinraptor, but just, I hate to beat a dead horse, but I just cannot get past what they chose to do with the skin on this thing. And finally, for size comparison, we're going to go ahead and bring in the Papovelociraptor, and as you can see, these two are quite similar in terms of their height. The Papovelociraptor can look this thing in the eye as it's standing on that little wooden base, but if that doesn't give you a good indication of the size, I really don't know what will, because that's just such a common and collected model. I feel like, yeah, what more do you need? Alright everyone, that is going to do it for our look at the Vitae Sinraptor. Overall, I think this does a few things well that the other Vitae models don't, namely the paint scheme with the lovely transition of colors and the way the stripes actually feel organic. But beyond that, it's just the decision to make this thing so mushy looking, so much like melted wax. I cannot get behind it. So yeah, I'm a little put off by this model. I feel like I should be giving it more than a 6 out of 10, but for me personally, I can't, because I'm just so put off by that. I mean, look at the thigh. It's practically melting into the thigh. You can see the skin from the top of the thigh running straight into the skin on the midsection. It's just, it joins it up right there. Oh my god, I have to stop talking about it. I just want to know what you guys think of this model. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. I love reading through all that. And as always, if you enjoyed our review today, don't be afraid to let us know by hitting that like button. And don't forget to subscribe on the way out. We've got more killer toy reviews coming your way down the line, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.